Joining me right now is Republican Congressman Devin Nunes of California. He is ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, it is good to see you this morning. Okay, I want to ask you one question before I get into the scope of all of this. Number one, I'm working on a project. How many hearings have you had in the Intel Committee about China in the last year and national security?
Well, look, Maria, you'd have to assume that the House Intelligence Committee actually exists anymore. As you know, we've nicknamed it the House Impeachment Committee because the only thing the Democrats have been working on is impeachment. Do trust, though, that the Republicans in the House have been working on China. We have a China task force. The House Intelligence Committee Republicans.
But you haven't had any hearings on it. Have you had any hearings on it?
I mean, we've hardly had any hearings on anything, okay, in the Intelligence Committee. Now, look, we're supposed to have briefings.
This is the U.S.'s biggest threat. And the biggest threat to national security. You are a member and the ranking member of the Intel Committee. You have had no hearings on national security or on China. Is that correct?
Well,
and all of the hearings, for the most part, have been about investigating Trump?
We do get briefings. So what we're doing is on our own, Republicans are getting briefings. But as you know, the Democrats have turned the House Intelligence Committee to a full-time impeachment committee. That's all they work on.
You are suing Twitter. I was Googling this weekend, and it says that a judge ruled that you're not allowed to sue Twitter. You want to explain that most recent ruling and tell us why you believe that tech tyranny is one of the most important issues going into the November election?
Well, first of all, Maria, you just said that you Googled. What I advise everybody to do is don't Google. Google, Facebook, and Twitter, okay, they're the tech oligarchs. They're tech tyrants. They're taking all of this content that, 90% of the news media is not only left-wing, but it's owned now by billionaire left-wingers. There's very few in the news media that are actually trying to get the facts out there. When you have 92% of the searches going through Google, you might have a problem, because when you plug that content into those three giant tech companies, it's really starting to have an influence and an effect on the politics in this country. Because, you have so many Americans out there who really don't want to get involved in politics. They don't pay attention a lot. But if their little devices that they have, if they're getting funneled this garbage and fake news, like you mentioned, the fake news about, that Twitter can't be sued. Like, that lawsuit is still ongoing. I'm encouraging others to bring lawsuits against these tech companies. And why do I say that? It's because Republicans and conservatives are being driven out and off of that internet superhighway, the World Wide Web that they used to call it, that Al Gore supposedly invented. This was a plus for all Americans. You had a public square that was open where we could all go there and express our views. What's happening on Twitter, Facebook, and Google is we are being censored. Conservatives are being censored. And that's why, I've moved to Parler now. It's a much better application. And I think that a lot of people are going to start to move to Parler because at least you can go there in the public square and say what you want to say. And I think it's just going to. In the meantime, what I'm worried about, Maria, is over half of Americans now are getting all of their news that a lot of times can just be flat out fake news, like you found this morning.
Yeah. In the meantime, you have the cities of our country being destroyed, statues coming down, mass looting. We're back to lockdown again, fighting over whether or not to wear masks or not. What is the story in terms of what's getting done to bring back law and order, Congressman? You look at the polls, President Trump is down versus Joe Biden. Can you explain this for me? I mean, Black Lives Matter obviously has been a major issue recently in terms of people recognizing that there has been wrongdoing by the police. How do you fix it?
Well, look, one of the points that we should point out is that Black Lives Matter is a group that it's an extremist group that is now being funded and running their money through the arm of the Democratic Party, this fundraising mechanism that they have called Act Blue. I should also say I find it rather ironic that the Democrats are now destroying their own history. If you look at just yesterday, Woodrow Wilson, the father of the progressive movement, and the father
Right.
of really kind of the modern-day Democratic Party in this socialist movement. His name is now being erased from history. Why? Because he was a racist. You have the trying to tear down and take out portraits in the U.S. Capitol. The Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, took out the portraits. What she's not saying is, I think 3 of those portraits were actually Democratic speakers. So I understand why the Democrats want to erase history, because they have a very racist history. They were the ones who opposed getting rid of slavery. They opposed the civil rights movement. So they want to label Republicans with saying they're racist, because in fact they're relying on these identity politics to win elections.
What are you saying about Act Blue? What are you saying about Act Blue in terms of funding the infrastructure destruction? Act Blue is the fundraising arm for the Democrats, right?
Yeah, so Act Blue, just like Win Red, Republicans have Win Red. It's where you actually go and create an account, and then you can give to Democrats. Or you can go to Win Red, and you can go and give money to Republicans. So it's kind of a one-click, one-stop shop. So Black Lives Matter, which supports defunding the police, and it's an extremist socialist agenda, that goes to Act Blue. So once you give to Black Lives Matter, then you can go in and click and give to all your favorite Democrats. And look, and
I got it. Real quick before you go, Congressman, because I said that you would respond to this, the Strzok notes in terms of what it tells us. Real quick, as we wrap up here, what did you learn from those Strzok handwritten notes?
Well, look, I'd love to get Strzok under oath. Hopefully, Durham and the Department of Justice will. The question is, what day were those notes written on? Because this would be the first direct evidence that Obama and Biden were involved in this Russia hoax, that they were actually getting the FBI to investigate and keep open an investigation into General Flynn that was totally phony, where the FBI not only had no predicate to go and investigate General Flynn, but they had actually exonerated him. The day after, they went in to brief him, and if the notes are right, you have Biden saying, we need to investigate him for the Logan Act, and you have President Obama saying something similar. So it would be the first direct evidence.
Get the right people to look at it. All right, Congressman, we obviously will keep on this. We will keep watching. It's good to see you, sir. Thanks so much, Congressman Devin Nunes.